For some dumb reason, the file for the first intermission got corrupted, and I can't add it. Basically, I'll be taking a break every once in a while to teach you new functions and numbers. I hope you guys are okay with that.
Welcome to the second intermission. In this intermission, we're going to cover all numbers below absolutely end. The numbers here have already been defined, but I'll define them again just to make sure. This number is absolute or infinity. It is the first milestone beyond absolute infinity. Since all numbers above this will be based on this, we need to make it powerful by using what we have at our disposal. So, absolute or infinity will be equal to the omega th totally Reinhardt cardinal. But what about Limit Club Berkeley cardinals? Well, their existence is controversial. Okay, now let's add an A. This new number, absolutist infinity, is the absolute or infinitive totally Reinhardt cardinal. For each A we add, we apply the totally Reinhardt function again. Let's create a shorthand for this so we can generalize this function. Okay, so in general, I and I equals n repetitions of the totally Reinhardt function applied to absolute infinity. When this shorthand starts to get long, we just use another one. And another. And another. And another. What we have created is an infinite list of enclosing strings. Now, let's pair each string up with a number as shown. We now define a new function. This new function diagonalizes over all of these strings. You may find this similar to f omega in the fast-growing hierarchy. But eventually this will get long too. So we create another set of enclosing strings, except we include this new enclosing string in all of them. We also number these accordingly. We now define another new function. Now we have two dots. Every time we add a dot, we create a new infinite set and diagonalize over it. Eventually, the enclosing string itself will get long. At that point, we will mark the start of a new ordinal level. Or, should I say, a new set of ordinal levels. Specifically, this is the start of ordinal levels 18 through 21. The limit of this function is absolute 1 infinity. This is the first of Mathis RB's numbers. Absolute to infinity is defined as follows. You can probably see where this is going. This next number, absolutely infinity, has an alternate representation. The x2 means that we are repeating this number 2 times. This function leads us to one of the most famous numbers in hypergogology. Absolutely everything. Now, we can continue piling up the x's, but it'll get too long eventually. The solution is to add another x. This time, it's a capital X. We can continue adding more and more x's, alternating between lowercase and uppercase. Then we reach absolutely infinity ultimate universe. Remember those enclosing strings we used earlier? Well, we'll be using them again to define even more numbers. Absolutely infinity ultimate universe is equal to this. The stuff in the parentheses mean that we are applying multiple xs on absolute infinity. The x10 tells us that there are 10 xs. So basically, absolutely infinity ultimate universe is equal to this. There's nothing stopping us from adding more xs to the end, though. So we replace the first absolute infinity with the stuff inside the parentheses. We can continue nesting parentheses inside of each other. At that point, we use the next enclosing string. We'll use all of the enclosing strings from before, and then create a new function to diagonalize over them. Here it is. This is what the function equals. And that leads us up to absolutely n. That's it for the second intermission. Welcome to the third intermission. We are gonna go beyond absolutely end. We can add more dots like before. Remember that each time we add a dot, we create a new infinite set and diagonalize over it. The next milestone is absolute A. This is the start of ordinal level 23. Absolute A is equal to the following. How do we continue from here? The function here is completely different. The next number is 1 absolute A. No, we are not adding 1 to this number. This is the actual value of 1 absolute A. So, in general, absolute A is just absolute AA. We can add more A's, but let's create a shorthand so it doesn't get too long. Here, the xn is kinda like that xx function we used before. We can add more xs again, but we should make a shorthand to make it easier to represent this. The limit of this is absolute B. Eventually, we'll reach the end of the alphabet, and after that, we'll reach absolute 1. To continue from here, we add another subscript 1, but on the right side of the absolute infinity. In general, when that subscript reaches absolute 1, we move on to absolute 2. The first subscript will eventually reach absolute 1. We'll represent that like this. We can use this to reach absolute infinity. 1 absolute pi is what you get when you repeat the slashes absolute infinity times. Absolute pi is equal to a number that I'm add myself. Highfinity. Once again, we can add more piece to the end to make the number bigger. We will use the xx function again once it gets too long. Except there's a twist. We'll use this function when there are too many xs. Let's use that list of enclosing strings again. Then diagonalize over and over again. Eventually, we'll want to use the enclosing strings on the outermost set of brackets. This will leads us into cyclic levels. The limit of the cyclic levels is highfinity hash. To reach bigger numbers, we add a superscripted 2 to the hashtag. It gets even bigger if we don't subscript the number. Eventually, we'll want to add multiple numbers at the end, like this. The limit of the dimensional hashes is highfinity hyperhash. Now, we can nest more hashes into the brackets. And then we can add more brackets. We can use this shorthand to make the numbers cleaner. The limit is ordinal level 29, phototilic absolute limit. It's a simple ordinal level. 2 symbols and a number. The next ordinal level is similar. Ordinal level 30 is delta true number. Finally, we reach absolute never, which is equal to this. Then we have absolute use. There are a whole bunch of Chinese radicals after that, but eventually we'll reach absolutely eternal, and that's where I will end the third intermission. The limit is ordinal level 29, phototilic absolute limit. It's a simple ordinal level. 2 symbols and a number. The next ordinal level is similar. Ordinal level 30 is delta true number. Finally, we reach absolute never, which is equal to this. Then we have absolute use. There are a whole bunch of Chinese radicals after that, but eventually we'll reach
Some people wonder why the sun is not very bright. My arms are much too tired for this conversation.
Welcome to the fourth intermission, and the final intermission of this part. Our goal for this intermission is to reach terminus finity. So last time, we left off at absolutely eternal. This number is equal to one loop. What is a loop? Basically a repeat of all previous numbers. The second loop is equal to the one loop Chinese radical. In general, we will eventually reach absolute loop. We'll start using excess at that point. Then, we'll use all the previous functions on the loops. We'll eventually reach loop x loop, which is unifnietu lospa. We can once again apply functions from earlier on unifnietu lospa. We will eventually reach trans infinity, or loop x loop. Remember how absolutely eternal is equal to one loop? Let's use that to make more numbers. For example, all infinity and infinity multiverse. This is the start of Mathis-RV's infinities. Extrafinity, kilofinity, giantfinity, superfinity, all the way up to onefinity. Then there's twofinity, threefinity, and so on. We'll eventually reach one-finifinity. Soon after that is infinifinity. Let's introduce a new function. With it comes a new number, 1 on infinifinity. Infinifinity upper infinifinity is equal to final infinity. Then, after a few more numbers, we finally reach terminus finity.
全てのこともまだ知らないの。思いが蓋を開けたの